Welcome once again to Hoosier History, Legends, and Heroes. Today we will tell you of Indiana's connection to Tarzan. Chicago-born Edgar Rice Burroughs was the author of the Tarzan series books. The first Tarzan book, Tarzan of the Apes, was published in 1912, which was followed by 23 more books, with the final Tarzan adventure being Tarzan and the Castaways, published in 1965.
Tarzan was such a famous and popular character that he was seen in numerous movies, serials, and TV shows, with many actors portraying him. I would think that the most well-known actor to play Tarzan was Olympic swimming champion Johnny Weissmuller. Weissmuller had won 5 Olympic gold medals. And as a matter of fact, Johnny Weissmuller has an Indiana connection. In 1924, the Olympic swimming tryouts were held at the pool at Broad Ripple Park. He won the 100-meter freestyle qualification, which made him a member of the U.S. Olympic swimming team. Did you know that Indiana can claim that several movie versions of Tarzan were portrayed by Hoosiers? 3 Hoosiers, to be exact. Indiana can also claim that one of her sons was the first actor to play Tarzan on the silver screen. Or, to be perfectly honest, maybe we should say the first actor to play the adult Tarzan on the silver screen. In the first Tarzan movie, Gordon Griffith played Tarzan as a boy. Otto Elmo Lincoln was born in Rochester, Indiana on February 6, 1889. After spending some time as an Arkansas peace officer, Elmo sets off for California. It is believed that the famous director, D.W. Griffith, spotted him working as a longshoreman and cast him in the movie The Battle of Elderbush Gulch in 1913. During a fight scene, Elmo's shirt was partially torn off, which showed his powerful 52-inch chest. This did not go unnoticed by D.W. Griffith. This gave Griffith the idea to start giving Elmo a little more screen time. D.W. Griffith also changed his name from Elmo Lincoln to Elmo Lincoln. In 1916, Edgar Rice Burroughs had decided to produce a movie version of Tarzan of the Apes. Having trouble to get backers for this endeavor, he discussed the making of his Tarzan movie with actor Smiling Billy Parsons. Parsons agreed and gave Burroughs $50,000 in stocks from his newly formed production company. With this, Burroughs signed over complete control of the movie to Parsons. Swedish-American actor Stellan Windrow was originally cast as Tarzan. At this time, World War I was raging over in Europe, and Windrow, who was in the U.S. Naval Reserve, was called into active duty. After a few weeks of wondering who they would replace Windrow with, Elmo Lincoln was given the part of Tarzan, which was released in 1918. Since the first talking picture wouldn't be released until 1927, that made this a silent movie. Edgar Rice Burroughs wasn't really happy about Elmo Lincoln portraying his Tarzan. He preferred the taller, leaner Windrow, but the ladies loved him. Many a female heart must have skipped a beat when they saw this shirtless Tarzan with his barrel chest. The movie was such a success it made a profit of $1 million. Elmo Lincoln played Tarzan again in The Romance of Tarzan, which also saw Enid Markey returning as Jane. Elmo's last appearance as Tarzan was in The Adventures of Tarzan, which was released in 1921 as a 15-part serial. The Adventures of Tarzan was a huge hit at the box office. It was the 4th biggest moneymaker of 1921. The Adventures of Tarzan made more money than Rudolph Valentino's The Sheik. For those of you who have no idea who Rudolph Valentino was, Just know that women couldn't help but swoon over him as they watched him in the theater. In the late 1920s, Elmo moved to Mexico and invested in mining. He did return to Hollywood and landed a few bit parts. Elmo died of a heart attack on June 27, 1952, in Los Angeles. His remains can be found in a mausoleum in Hollywood Forever Cemetery. If you are interested in watching Elmo in Tarzan of the Apes, it is on Prime Video. James Hubert Babe Pierce was born on August 8, 1899, in the small town of Freedom, Indiana. He was an All-American center for Indiana University, graduating in 1921. He coached football and tried amateur acting. He won the lead in the 1924 movie Leather Stocking. He still coached after landing this role and began coaching at California's Glendale High School. One of the players he coached was Marion Morrison. Marion Morrison would become one of the world's biggest stars. You would know Morrison as John Wayne. Jim Pierce was invited to a party at the ranch of Edgar Rice Burroughs. Apparently Burroughs liked what he saw in Pierce and talked him into playing the role of Tarzan. I also read that Burroughs' daughter Joan may have had a hand into convincing Pierce to take the role. He would be paid $75 a week. Because he had agreed to play Tarzan for the movie Tarzan and the Golden Lion, he had to back out of the part of an aviator in the 1927 silent movie Wings. The part of the aviator then went to Gary Cooper. As most of us know, Gary Cooper became another Hollywood megastar. Tarzan and the Golden Lion was released in 1927, and this was the last silent Tarzan movie. The end of 1927 was when the first talking motion picture was released. The movie was popular with audiences, but I guess the critics weren't too crazy about it. This would be the only Tarzan movie James Pierce would make. No matter what anyone thought of the movie, Pierce must have made a good enough impression on Edgar Rice Burroughs because on August 8, 1928, James Pierce and Joan Burroughs became man and wife. Even though Pierce only made one Tarzan movie, Jim and his wife Joan played Tarzan and Jane on the radio for 364 15-minute episodes that were heard in every state of America, in South America, and Western Europe from 1932 to 1934. In 1974, Pierce wanted to find a copy of his Tarzan movie so that he could watch it again. Unfortunately, his search was in vain because a copy was not found before his death. Joan Burroughs Pierce died December of 1972, and Jim Pierce died November of 1983. They were living in California at the time of their passing. They were both cremated, and their remains were brought back to Indiana to be interred in the Pierce family plot in Forest Hill Cemetery, Shelbyville, Shelby County, Indiana. After James' death, a copy of his movie was found in a foreign archive. This copy can now be seen on YouTube. Now for Who's Your Tarzan number 3. Denny Miller was born on April 25, 1934 in Bloomington, Indiana. Denny had a brother Kent, and their father was a PE instructor at Indiana University. When Denny was in the 4th grade, the family moved away from Bloomington. Denny and his brother Kent had played basketball all of their lives. When they were playing for University High School in Los Angeles, both brothers came to the attention of head coach of UCLA, John Wooden. John Wooden is considered the greatest NCAA basketball head coach of all time. And for those of you who don't know this about Mr. Wooden, he was also born in Indiana. Both brothers did play for UCLA after receiving full ride scholarships. In Denny's senior year, he was discovered on Sunset Boulevard by a talent agent who signed him with MGM. His first role was a bit part in the 1958 movie Some Came Running, which happened to have been filmed in Madison, Indiana. His next movie was Tarzan the Ape Man in 1959. This was a low-budget movie filmed in 8 weeks. This was his only Tarzan movie. Later, Denny did become a regular on Wagon Train playing Duke Shannon from 1961 to 1964. For 14 years, he was the Gorton fisherman in the TV commercials. Denny Miller was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or commonly known as ALS, and also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, in January 2014. He died on September 9, 2014, in Las Vegas, Nevada. He is buried with his parents and his brother Kent in the Bourbon IOOF Cemetery, located in Bourbon, Marshall County, Indiana. If you are interested in watching Denny in his role as Tarzan, his movie can be seen on Prime Video.
Indiana can say that Rochester-born Elmo Lincoln was the first silent movie Tarzan. Freedom-born James Pierce was in the last silent Tarzan movie, and Bloomington-born Denny Miller was the first blonde Tarzan. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed listening to Indiana's connection to Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.